Hello everyone, welcome back to Talking Reds, and Arne Slot has done his press conference for the Villa game, for tomorrow's game against Villa, and he has given an update on Cody Gakpo's injury news, Joe Gomez's injury news. He spoke a little bit on Marcus Rashford, the importance of Endo, and he also spoke about, as always, and was asked about the mentality of the team and how impressed he was at the weekend by the mentality of the team to hang on to the pitch and not let what happened against Everton happen again. So the injury news is as follows. Cody Gakpo is out for the Villa game tomorrow. Big blow for Arne Slot, big blow for Liverpool in what becomes a tough week, a very, very tough week for the Reds in terms of the fixtures. Villa and Man City away, two of the toughest games coming up, and we need every sort of player available really for these games. And Cody Gakpo being out is a huge one. Big part of the reason why we're near the top this season in terms of clutch moments, in terms of getting goals, as well as Mohamed Salah. He's probably the second most reliable player we can rely on for getting goals other than Mohamed Salah. And it's a big miss. Big miss. Arne Slot did say that he's close to returning to training. So whether we see him on Sunday against Man City, that's another question to be answered. I think we may see him on the bench against City, if my opinion. But it's going to be a big risk to. Also, if he's not in training yet, he's not close to returning. He'll be training probably Thursday, Friday, best. I can't see him starting against City because of that. Not enough training under his belt for that. But yeah, it's a big miss. Joe Gomez, even bigger miss because he is out for the majority of the season. He's out for several weeks according to Arne Slot, and he was asked again later on by James Pearce to sort of go a bit further on how long he is out for. And this is the words he said. One second, I'll get it up now. He will miss large parts of the rest of the season, but we expect him to be out at the end phase of the season. So hopefully we do see Joe Gomez before the end of the season. Because if we're honest, there was talks about him leaving last season. This could potentially, this injury alone, knowing the availability of Joe Gomez, one of the best centre-backs we had at the club, alongside Van Dijk, was him and Van Dijk together at one point were the best centre-back pairing in the league, potentially in Europe at one point. And it's such a shame that has happened to Joe Gomez, and the injuries have kicked in and the injuries have hampered his career at Liverpool because he had such potential. But we knew he was injury prone. We knew this was going to happen. We knew even Konate is a bit injury prone now. We knew this was going to happen for the season. Now we're going to lose Konate, we're going to lose Gomez. But again, it comes down to recruitment and not preparing for that. And lucky we have people like Endo and Gravenberch that can readjust their game and play in certain positions which they shouldn't have to do. But Kwanzaa did a very, very good job on Sunday, which helps massively. Because obviously Konate and Van Dijk need to stay absolutely fit. But Kwanzaa came on and made a game-saving challenge, game-saving block. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame about Joe Gomez. And I'm sure every Liverpool fan will feel the same, how good this guy was. And unfortunately, this happens to some players. It does. Injuries hamper the season. They don't really reach the potential that they can do. So yeah. Also, Arne Slot was asked about also the weekend and the mentality. And I want to shout out Mo Stewart. I think it was Mo Stewart that answered it. That asked it. I think so. I'm not going to be certain on Mo Stewart. I think he's on the Apple Wrap. He was the one asked about the mentality of the team and how impactful it was at the weekend to have that sort of win as well and to get over the line. And Arne Slot always loves talking about mentality, loves talking about the fact that we did get over the line against Wolves and compare it to the Everton game and saying, look, luckily what didn't happen again where we're letting conceded in the last second and how it affects the mentality of the players when we lose to Everton in that period. And he said, look, directly shut off the game, also it affects you, but we learn from those sort of situations. We went into the game against Wolves, we didn't play as best, but those games can boost you instantly. To get a result out of them when you're not playing well is certainly a good thing mentality. And it was a good question by Mo Stewart. I don't know exact question that I did ask, but it was a very, very good question about the mentality. Also, he has spoken about also the game tomorrow against Aston Villa. This is what he has to say about Aston Villa, and it's a very, very good answer from Arne Slot. A very good manager. It's a strong team we're going to face. Every game, the period of time is difficult. And that's not singling out Aston Villa there. What that is doing is every game's going to be difficult, especially this time of the season. And that's not him underestimating Aston Villa. That's not him saying, "Oh, Aston Villa's going to be harder game than Wolves." He's not. He knows the seriousness of the situation. He knows that we're top of the league. We are favourites for the league. He knows that every single game in the Premier League is a difficult one. And to go into games when not thinking like that, you could either underestimate your team or overestimate your team to the point where it ruins your tactics, it ruins the way you're playing. I thought against Everton we played the occasion. Wolves again, we didn't play particularly well again. We do need to sort of improve, and I think his level of standards, like saying, "Look, this is a strong team now. What we face every game every game," he said, it sort of keeps that standard and keeps that in the dressing room not to get complacent. Every game's going to be difficult, and that's exactly what Arne Slot needs to say. And I think he actually said it absolutely perfectly. He was asked about Marcus Rashford as well tomorrow. I think he did say he played against him? He had seen him against him at one point. He's a very good player. I hope for him he will show this at Villa, just not tomorrow. He always has a joke those Arne Slot though. I would be completely surprised if he doesn't show his quality in the upcoming months. He's a very good player. And he was talking about his pace as well, how fast he is as a player, and he's a very quick player. But Marcus Rashford is always had the qualities, if we're absolutely honest with ourselves, and he is a player tomorrow that is a threat for Liverpool. Whether he has his attitude problems at Man United or not, whether it works out at Man United or not, he has ability, and he has always had the ability. He's always had a good game against us at some point. He has scored against us a few times, getting a win against us because of him as well at Man United. So it's certainly a player for me that we need to be wary of tomorrow. We've got Asensio as well, Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins. It's a brilliant front four. If that is the front four tomorrow, it's a good front four. But Rashford certainly is a player that I'm looking at thinking, yeah, it's a threat. And so I think Arne Slot will also respect that as well, because he is a decent player. I think his attitude at Man United and his consistency just hasn't been there. And I think he has made the right move. And I think Man United made the right move getting sort of loaning him out as well. So I think, yeah, definitely a player I'll be looking at tomorrow and thinking, yeah, be careful, be very, very careful. He also spoke about Endo. Said that he was asked about Endo and how important it was on Sunday coming on to the game. And he was going on about saying, like, it doesn't matter. It just shows you that kind of player Endo is, hardly gets any minutes, comes on and makes a difference. And they said here, what makes Wata special is every time we have to rely on him, he shows up. He said it doesn't matter if you play 90 minutes or 3 minutes. If you can show up, that's all that matters. And you'd rather have a player that plays a good game for 20 minutes than have 90 minutes of poor game. And that's exactly what he does. And he also said, like, it shows the mentality of the players as well, like the players that are on the fringe players that gets little bits here and there, but that can come on and make a difference. And it's harder for them because obviously they're not match fit, they're not ready, they're not as match fit as other players, not mentally in it as much as other players, but then they are literally coming on and making a difference. And that's how big Endo is right now. Endo, I did criticise Endo a little bit on Sunday. I think I was hot-headed, if I'm honest. And I'll be honest here, I thought he had a good game, but I think he just is giving his fouls away. I think it pissed me off a little bit more at that moment in time. But yeah, Endo had a good game. I think Endo is going to be very, very important. The thing with Endo is not going to be good enough to keep Gravenberch on his toes. And that's what I think everyone would like at Liverpool. But he has done a fantastic job, and I think he will continue to do a fantastic job for Liverpool. And if we need to see games out, it does need to be used a bit more. It does need to use a little bit more. I think it's very, very intelligent. He reads the game exceptionally. He does give a lot of fouls away. I think that's just being rash. I think he's just a rash player. But he's very intelligent and knows what to do, when to do it. That Milner kind of player is not as good as Milner at doing it, but he's good enough to have in those situations. I think that's what Arne Slot made a mistake in terms of the Everton game. He should have brought Endo on last week, and we might have seen a different. Might not. You don't know. Might have lost 3-2. You don't know. But I think it would help bringing someone like Endo on in those situations to see games out. He also was asked about the situation between, the FA said title 7 points clear. Sort of asked, he sort of like led on to believing, like, do you think you're going to win the title? He had this in Feyenoord, and he absolutely perfectly did Arne Slot. Absolutely perfect. He said, look, this is a different situation, different league, different players, and that's it really. Because at the end of the day, it is a different league, it's a different players. You can't. There's nothing he would do differently to what he did at Feyenoord, because only he can instill mentality into the players, but the players have got to have the mentality themselves as well. And it is a different league. The games are harder. I think there's more pressure in the Premier League to succeed. There's more pressure certainly at Liverpool to succeed, because it is a bigger club than Feyenoord. Feyenoord don't expect to win the titles over PSV and Ajax usually. And yeah, I think he answered perfectly. He would have learnt a lot at Feyenoord winning titles over there, but it can't be complacent and come over here and think it is the same situation, because it really isn't. And he answered perfectly. He also mentioned about 25 points clear at one point. He said even at 25 points clear, with 20 points to go, I think we have to win 2. I think it's just the standards of it, and this is why Liverpool fans are like, we're quite humble with it. We're quite like down to earth and grounded with things. Like, we're not going to get carried away saying we're going to win the league, this and that and this and that. We should win the league. I think we will win the league, but we're not going to be hyping it up saying, we're going to win this league, because we know how football works. We've been in here before. We've been top of the league. We've been, like even said there, when we were 25 points clear against Man United, when we beat Man United that time against Anfield, a solid breakaway. In that point, you still have doubts of winning the league, and they were clear at the top. So there is going to be, and people are rightfully can see that. They can rightfully have doubts because of past experience, because football's football. Not every game's a given. We could go on and lose against Villa and Man City, and Arsenal close the gap to 1 point. That's how this league works. That's how football works. So we're not going to be counting our chickens. We should be winning the league from this position. But as Arne Slot says, look, I'm not looking at the. He said, he always says. He said it in the press conference today. There's 13 games left, guys. There's 13 games left, and what I'm looking at right now is Villa. I'm not looking past that, and I just think it's brilliant management. I think it's brilliant management. I think it's brilliant managing of the press and making sort of easing off a little bit. Stop putting this pressure on us when we don't need to put the pressure on us. But yeah, I think another brilliant. As per from Arne Slot, a brilliant press conference, brilliant answers. The way he answers things is just how I would want him to answer things. I think he's truthful, but then he's also like, look, we don't need to get carried away. We're taking time at a time, game at a time, but we still need our standards and the mentality. Needs to be up here for winning these games. One thing I do, like I said, I said shout out Mo Stewart earlier. Because I thought on Mo Stewart's, I think it is Mo Stewart, the one from Anfield Rap. I think he sort of asked better questions to Arne Slot than some other journalists. Because he's not Mo Stewart is a standard journalist that goes on, does writes articles and things like that. He does Anfield Rap. And I think his questions is much better than what some other journalists that just want they just want headlines. And James Pearce was one of them, because Arne Slot was asked earlier about Joe Gomez injury, and he said, look, he's out for pretty much several games. And it's quite an indication of, it's sort of, he didn't exactly say he said multiple weeks. That sort of gives an indication how long it actually is. But then most of it asked his question about mentality and things like that, and it was nice to an in-depth answer from Arne Slot. But then James Pearce went to saying, on the Joe Gomez injury then, how long is he out for? Sort of thing. It's like, you just want an headline. I don't like questions like that. You got the answer earlier on Joe Gomez. Answer something better. Ask something better. You might have had pre-written questions, but you're a journalist. You should be a smart guy. You can come up with a different question. For me, I don't like these headline questions. You had your answer earlier about Joe Gomez. Ask something different. I like these in-depth questions, these in-depth answers. for Arne Slot. And Arne Slot, I think Arne Slot likes him as well, you know. He likes answering, he likes talking about mentality, he likes talking about the bounce back. And shout out to Mo Stewart for that specific question. Other than that, yeah, it was a very, very good press conference again. Just hope tomorrow, it's a difficult game, guys. It's a difficult game. I'm just hoping we somehow come through. I don't care. I said it on Sunday, I don't care about performance. Performance does need to improve, though, because if we play like that against Villa and Man City, it's not going to be an easier win than it is on Sunday. And Sunday, at times, Wolves outperformed us. And if we let that happen against Villa and City, I think we'll get punished. I really do. Hoping the performance improves, but as long as we get a result, it doesn't really matter. But I think in order to get the result, I think our performance needs to improve a little bit at least. But yeah, make sure you do for more press conferences, updates and injury updates and Liverpool news and much more on this channel. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well, get notification bells as well. I've got something very, very special coming up in the future. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, guys.